Got it. Okay, good. Well, as we're recording it, then we can worry about that later.
Okay. Let me. Okay. All right. So let's see here. We have Colby, we have Robin. Paige is not here. I don't see her. I know she's about to give birth, so
Oh, geez.
she I saw her on Riverside Drive the other day with her husband and dog. She was ready to go. Kevin's not here. I'm gonna put excused for the moment. Jay, I don't see. Hopefully he'll sign in. And Lee, I don't, oh, Nick is here. Oh, but he's not on but he's here. Hi, Nick. Nick's raising his hand. Loud off, there we go. Nick.
Hello.
Hello, Nick.
How is everybody?
Great, thank you.
Excellent.
All right, well, we do not have quorum, so we are just going to move right along. I am going to call this meeting to order at 7:05. And Colby is on the phone, but I'm going to try to host this tonight with his help. That's why he's here, but he's kind of out of the state, so he's having a rough time with his internet.
Internet.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine in this day and age in the United States, but
No, it works okay. Actually, it's better
Okay,
than
good.
it's fine.
Good.
Just I don't have my computer and everything.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So since we don't have quorum, we are just going to postpone voting on last month's minutes. So we're going to go right to public comment. And I see a couple people in the public. Does anybody have anything they want to discuss? Jonathan, allowed to talk. There we go. Jonathan, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can.
sir.
Thank you. I'm a little confused on what we're doing because I'm not used to not having a quorum. Am I only making comment on the minutes? Because I have two comments. One is on the minutes and then one is on the meeting.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Just mix it all up. Okay. On the minutes, I would thank you for doing the minutes. I just wanted to say, though, that where it says I discussed the underpass issue, what I discussed was the omission by the committee of any address to the public safety of the Lancashire underpass area. So it's my objection. My objection was the lack of any discussion. It doesn't say that. And the minutes just referred that I said something about the $3,000 trash pickup, 3,000, you know what we're talking about. It doesn't say what I said about the $3,000, and I think you'll remember, so I don't need to say it again. Also, I would make a recommendation. If there's anything that's really important, seeing in the public safety minutes, it's what Officer Delbar has to say. Really given the report card on how well the community's faring, because he's telling us what the crime rates are. And I really recommend we start putting those in the minutes so that people can see them, whoever looks through these minutes, hopefully all board members. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Let's see, is there anyone else? Jonathan, I'm going to take your hand down. Okay. I don't see anybody else, so we are going to go right into Officer Delbar. Welcome.
Hey, you guys. So
Hey,
as
Curtis.
requested, I'll jump right into the numbers. We are seeing a pretty large increase in our robberies, about 100% increase year to date. And
100%?
100% year to date. That means they pretty much doubled the year to date. Aggravated assaults are seeing about a 12% increase. And as it's been trending for the past few months, we're seeing a 22% decrease in our burglaries. However, Grand Theft Autos, we see about 2% increase. And then for our burglary from motor vehicles, a 32% increase. And then from our thefts, we're seeing about a 7% increase. So the one that has me concerned obviously is the robberies and then also the burglary from motor vehicles. The other thing I wanted to touch on is I've been monitoring the underpasses quite a bit lately, actually, for Langresham and 134, which has been clean going on 2 weeks now. So it is very walkable. However, I did see a couch there as I drove by today. There was a white couch on the east side of it under the underpass. So I wanted to do a 311 request. And if you guys would like to, please do, just to help get that couch cleaned up so that no one goes and sleeps under there and we don't have a reoccurring issue.
So
More
what do
parking
we
one.
need to
Did
do
you-
for this?
Did you make a 311?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
So if you want to do another one, by all
For sure.
means, please do. More parking the 101 is actually looking very clean too. And Vineland and the 101 and Vineland and the 134 are looking better. They're not 100% clean, but they're looking better. So I want to say that everyone at these areas has been offered housing options, outreach, resources several times before this cleanup was even able to happen. And so they have been all given opportunities and chances, whether it be tiny homes or Project Room Key or bridge housing. So we are trying to also do that
Amazing.
to try and help them out as much as we can.
And did a lot of them accept your offer for help, or did they? You don't really know. Maybe it's hard to tell.
So here's the tough part with this one is when I offer them help, they're all over it. But I think a lot of that has to do with them just wanting me to leave.
Mhm.
So they tell me what they think I want to hear. When LASA or other outreach agencies come to us, a lot of them will turn it down. That being said, if these people are housed, when I go to LASA and I ask this person, hey, was so-and-so housed? Did they get any resources? They can't tell me due to confidentiality reasons.
Mhm.
So I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
It's a little frustrating on my part because I can't have any follow-up on what's going on with them. And some people really, really are honest and they really do need help and they want help. And I don't know what happened to them. So I just wanted to put that out there that the underpasses are walkable and virtually clean. And then a weird thing also I noticed today, I was driving around some parts of Toluca Lake, both sides. And I noticed that obviously, we had a bit of a thunderstorm, which is odd. But I also noticed that people are walking in the middle of the street still, and they're wearing dark clothes when they're walking. So it got dark really early today, probably around 5:30-ish. It was starting to get pretty dark, 5 o'clock. And I noticed that I can't see these people if they're wearing dark clothes. So that message should be pretty sent out to the community to wear some kind of reflective clothing or light clothing or light colors just to stand out in that dark atmosphere that we're dealing with now, because it is getting darker earlier and people will be walking around a lot more. So I just want that to be said as far as being able to be visible at nighttime. Other than that, any questions from you guys would be very helpful too.
The difference between a robbery and a burglary. I mean, so when you say robbery, does that mean someone comes up to someone on the street with a gun and or a knife and takes their wallet, or you said we went up 100% for robberies?
Right. So robbery is when something is taken by force or fear.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be exactly an act of violence, but that's be the threat of an act of violence. A lot of these robberies also are when stores are trying to stop a theft from happening and a physical confrontation occurs. That's considered a robbery too.
And that's a higher crime, or is
That's a
that
higher than theft, yes.
all right? Okay.
And a burglary from motor vehicle is I break into your car, whether locked or unlocked, and steal something from that car or take something from that car.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the differences between those. And burglary from motor vehicles we see those going up quite a bit, not only in North Hollywood, but I'm looking at the other stats and they're almost across the board that they're going up. Especially in around the Red Line, especially also in Studio City area.
Is this, is,
Yeah.
Officer Del Bar, is this, how much of the robberies is homeless on homeless versus, you know, not?
So I don't have those stats exactly. They are on homeless, that does occur. However, a lot of the robberies can be also done with like social media transactions where say you go buy something on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and you meet someone somewhere and a robbery occurs, that can happen too. So
How
there are
much, now, what, how can we fight something like that? I mean, what are the things we can do? Like, what is this? Because it feels like what's the what MO of most of the crimes? Would you say that's it, the online crime?
No, it's going to be kind of across the board. It's not a lot that you can do specifically because some of them are transient on transient, some of them are online crimes, and some of them are theft crimes that turn into robberies. So it's not a lot that you can actually do specifically. The only thing you can do is try and make yourself more aware and not become a victim of a robbery, should that happen.
Okay. Is there guidelines we can give for online transactions to make sure that you know, robberies don't occur?
Oh, without a doubt. So if you're going to do an online transaction, don't pick a dark street to do your transaction in. Go to a store. Go to no, you're laughing, but it has
I should mute. I apologize.
Go to a store.
Let's meet in a dark alley.
Go to a store. Go to a police station. Go to some well-lit, high-populated area to do that transaction. And you're going to be a lot more safer with a lot of people and a lot more light in the area. And if you can, try not to do it late at night. You know, set some parameters. Do what you feel comfortable. If it feels a little odd doing it, it probably is a little uncomfortable. You should probably pick a different time or a different place.
Curtis,
question.
can I ask you a question about the robberies or break-ins or something last weekend? I heard that several of the stores were hit. Do you know anything about that?
When you're saying the stores, which ones are you?
Rose and Sage, Sweet Salt, on both sides of the street. And I'm not really sure what the incident was. I was out of town and I got a phone call saying that several stores were something to do with several stores getting hit. And I don't know if that was a break into the stores or into their trash. I'm not sure.
And that's going to be in October, right?
Yeah, it was last Saturday, so it was probably the end of September. What is
Okay.
today? Wait, yeah, maybe, no, it was the last weekend. It wasn't this weekend. It was the last weekend.
Okay. I can actually look it up real quick.
I
Yes.
put a call in to the gal that called me about it, but I haven't heard back from her. So I was just curious if you knew anything. But she mentioned several stores on both sides of the street. Mrs. Robinson, Rose and Sage, Sweet Salt.
So some of those stores have been burglarized before. A lot of times it's just a window smash.
Yeah,
Some-
I think one of the stores was boarded up, which makes me think that they broke in.
yeah, that could be very
I think it
probable.
was Sweet Salt. Sweet Salt gets hit.
It's been hit quite a bit
Yeah.
because I've investigated in there too. I'm not seeing anything right now. I'd have to get some more time to look over that one. I don't remember seeing it on the reports either. If you can give me like a date or time, I could probably look it up easier. Or actually, you know what? I'll just look up the address of Sweet and Salt and I'll look at it that way.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll
I know
take care of that.
Sweet Salt, Rose and Sage, and Mrs. Robinson were all three named by this source. So
That's
I'm not sure what it was because, like I said, it was out of town and I haven't spoken to.
I have a few questions. And Robin, Kevin D's just arrived.
Oh, yay, Kevin. Okay. Allow.
Can I ask my questions?
Yes, Tess.
All right. So I have a bunch of questions. First, minor, small actually medium, large announcement. Officer Del Bar is going to be our guest of honor at our neighborhood watch meeting in West Toluca Lake on Monday, November 15th. And Robin, I'm going to send you details about that. It would be great if we could get it in the Greater Toluca Lake newsletter. And we have a neighborhood cleanup on this Saturday at 9 a.m. And we're going to focus on some areas of Riverside Drive. So regarding the cleanup of the underpasses, whom do we thank for that? Who's responsible?
Probably gonna be directed to the council office and
Okay.
Bureau of Sanitation.
Okay, great, very good. And Curtis, I think you've gotten reports from one of my neighbors on Sarah Street from the 11,000 block about drug trade there and 2 young Hispanic males. Is it appropriate to give license plate numbers here or on the Zoom call, or should I just, for people to know about, or should I just send that to you directly?
I would say send it to me directly,
Okay.
and then probably do that offline. We can investigate it that way.
Okay, good. So just so for as an overview, there was drug activity observed in August, and the individuals have now returned. I will forward that to you. Curtis, thank you. And regarding the individuals being housed, you bring up an issue about privacy, Curtis, that is, I think, problematic when we're trying to get people the help that they need. I've run into this as well when I refer individuals and have LASA come, meet with them or use the LA HOP app, which sends out the service providers. And, I've tried to help people get housing and a whole range of services, but you can't get any further information. You can't even find out if they've been helped because LASA cites privacy reasons, which I think is bogus and not appropriate because we're not asking for social security information. We're not asking for their medical history, for their financial history. We're just trying to find out if they've been helped. So to the extent that the community is being urged to help people and we are actually doing it, how do we know if our efforts are resulting in anything if we cannot find out if these people have been helped? This isn't there's no prying into anybody's privacy. Do you have any suggestions about that?
We are sharing similar frustrations with this. For me, I've just had to go along with it and accept that as that's the way that their policy is. I've asked this question several times and I've just been quoted confidentiality and privacy issues.
Okay.
So I also take that as it is.
Well, I'm sure good people are working hard to get things done, but it also cloaks, a multitude of sins and things not being done. So I'm going to look into getting those, getting that updated because people need to know if their help is actually accomplishing anything, in my opinion. Does anybody here have an opinion on that?
They absolutely. We've done a lot of stuff, I believe, Tess, and with the underpasses getting cleaned up by making the stink that we've gotten both CD2 and CD4 to clean it up, and it's a lot of it's in CD2. It has some been CD4, but I think that's progress because people are being offered housing in this and are being offered help in this, and some of it
total progress. Yes.
Is some of it is really about just incremental victories and then figuring out, well, okay, what's the next problem to fix? Because remember, nobody knows what's going, like how to fix any of this really, right? And the real problem is, as we've discussed 1,000 times, is we don't have mental hospitals to house these people. Some of them who are problematic, schizophrenic, scofflaw, drug addicts, et cetera, et cetera. So until those things are figured out and then those are addressed specifically, but I come back to generally when people are put into these systems, they're helped. I would say the best thing you can do is write down your email address on information on a piece of paper, give it to them, and hopefully they get in touch with you. If they have contact information, they almost all have email addresses and things of that nature. You can find their information and follow up with them directly. And there's nothing saying that you can't do that. They can give you your information all day long. They're a regular citizen. And, I would recommend if you want to, get personal with somebody and exchange email addresses and things like that, it's definitely something that the homeless do. They are regular people, we use the word they, and I hate using that, but it's a thing. And there's many. So that's what I would suggest. as far as, following up with them and, I agree with you.
That's a great suggestion, Nick, and I'm already doing that, but we can discuss more offline.
I have a quick
would say
question.
it's
Go ahead.
a
I'm sorry.
nightmare, but nothing you can do about it, so.
Okay.
I have this is Kevin. I have a
Oh, thanks. Ken.
quick question for Officer Delbar. Officer Delbar, the underpass by Moore Park and Vineland, it looks so much better, but I noticed that it looks like there are encampments now on the wash. Is that county land? And so is that why that's happening there now? And that's a county issue?
Yes, so they have now gone onto the wash. I noticed that as well, and that is county property, not city property.
Got it. And then the other question I had is that it looks like while it's a million times better under these underpasses, it looks like some people are creeping back a little bit. Is there an ongoing plan to make sure that they stay looking nice?
Yeah, from what I know that there will be constant maintenance of that. But then also with that maintenance, there is outreach offered every time as well.
So last question, just on the county piece, then what do we need to do to ensure that that doesn't become more of an issue?
That you're gonna have to talk to your assemblyman and go that route as far as cleanups. City won't clean up on that property. It's more of a Caltrans issue or a state issue.
And I'm sorry, one last thing in terms of Campo de Cahuenga and the park and ride. Again, I realize that's county, but have you heard of any kind of plan at all to clean that area up? Because it almost is like now that the underpasses are no longer an issue, that has become even worse.
So that's what I've noticed. What I've been told with some of these people from the underpasses that they went to the park and ride, or just went to a different part of the city or got housed. So as of right now, I don't know the answer to that as far as if they're going to clean it up, what they're going to do. I know they do regular maintenance out there as far as trash pickups and those things, but as far as forcing them to leave, I don't know what the plans are for that.
Kevin, I've spoken to Brenda Yanez directly about that. That's a Board of Supervisors supervised area. And if you follow up with her directly about it, and what we can do to get that,
Sure.
looked in. I sent her an email last week. I had a good conversation with her on Friday, and should be getting an email from their homeless representatives. And I'm happy to, CC you in on some information if you like.
Sure, whatever I can do to help.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Officer Delbar, one quick question, last one I think, is that van it's kind of a rundown old van that's been hanging out on Riverside and I think Arcola near the Sharkies and Coffee Bean. It was there up until last week. Is it still around? And
No, so I actually went to Sparky's today and I was talking to one of the staff over there. That van left a little bit ago, probably a week, almost a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And the story on that van is I gave him a couple warnings. I gave him a ticket after the warnings. I gave him 2 warnings. And then they left and he got his van fixed. Him and the wife left and they went to a different part of California to visit family.
okay, yeah, she panhandles a lot outside Coffee Bean and Sharkies. I see her a
Yeah, I
lot.
couldn't be seeing them anymore or him at all. I haven't seen them since, and I don't know if I haven't seen him around the area either. I know they were floating around, but they were stuck there for a while because he had a faulty transmission. So he got his vehicle towed, and we'll see what's going to come of it after this.
Great, thank you so much.
Curtis, or I should say Officer Delbar, a similar item over here in West Toluca Lake. We have a van or like a mobile home on the 4700 block of Bellflower that's been here for months. And a man is living in the camper. He's been trespassing on Bellflower properties, dumping trash, and his vehicle is now leaking. So one of my neighbors reported this today, that it's a suspected, toilet overflow. So what can be done about that? Should I get you the license plate number and have you check it out? What should we do?
Definitely, I want the license plate number on that and the exact location it is on Bellflower, and you can just email me that information.
Okay.
And then I can look into it as far as what we can do about getting that maybe removed if it is leaking some of its utilities.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
And Tess, that was a camper?
It's a mobile home.
Okay. Okay.
I have one quick question for you, Curtis, before you take off.
Right.
Now that we've, everyone's put a lot of effort to get the underpasses clear and clean, in the event that they come back or anyone comes back, is that just simply a 311 issue? Do we just do a My 311, or what do we need to do to kind of continue being vigilant and keeping these places clean?
That's a twofold issue. It's gonna be the 311
Okay.
and notifying your council office.
Okay, so in this case, do we maybe, because when I talked to Mehmet the other day, right after Lancashire Riverside, he kind of pointed out that that was more the doings of CD2 rather than CD4. Is that something that, so 311 and then maybe reaching out to CD2?
If I were you, I'd reach out to both council offices.
Okay.
They share that area. It's literally split down the middle. So they both work at it. But I would definitely send a message to both council offices.
Okay.
Okay.
Officer Delbar, any idea how that couch got there?
No, I just saw it today. I didn't see it the day before. So I don't know if it was dragged there or dumped there. I have no idea how it got there.
Now you're talking about the red couch that's on Vineland and Riverside?
I think he's talking about the white couch on Lancashire and the 134.
I just drove probably about an hour ago and I thought I saw a red couch on the corner of northeast corner of Vineland at Riverside, a red one.
At
Vineland.
Vineland?
Lancashire. You said it was Vineland, two different
No,
underpasses.
Vineland and Riverside.
And Curtis.
Mine,
said
there's two different underpasses.
Oh,
So
no.
there's another, and there's two different
two
underpasses.
different underpasses.
It looks like there's two couches, is what it looks like to me. Two
Okay.
different
Oh, no.
locations.
You've got a red and a white couch.
Or maybe they're having a sale, who knows?
Was it the Friends couch? Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, from the show. All right, I think, is any hands raised, Robin, on the, I don't, on my phone, I can't see. Okay, What?
And so nobody is here from CD4, Mehmet's not here. As far as Neighborhood Watch, if your street wants to have a meeting to meet with Officer Delbar, or if you know of somebody who wants to become a watch captain or to be on a watch list, please get in touch with me and we will add you to the list and get you on the email chain so you know what's going on. And then as far as Steve Rostam, he is not here. I do want to mention that there is a brand new ACS regional VP. He replaced Rob Beto. The new guy's name is David R. Corio, Corio. And he's now taking over for Rob Beto. I don't know if any of you have ACS, which is a security company that seems to be blanketing Toluca Lake. They have the biggest presence in Toluca Lake. So-
Robin, may I ask you, go back to Neighborhood Watch for a minute? I'm still on your list to get the monthly crime stats, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
And do you not get my letter? They came late last month, for August in September. And I haven't gotten September yet, but Curtis reached out to me today and said. that
Okay.
he-
Yeah, if you say so, they don't, they come only once a month though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
unless something
to
else going on.
to stakeholder Jonathan Gregory's recommendation, which I think is good. And since you get them already, the crime stats, which you forward to us, could you not simply include them in an upload to the documents or put them on the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council website since you already get them?
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, and I think that's important and we can track how, what's going on. I mean, this is a huge concern that what robberies are up 100%. Gosh,
Not
all
bad.
right, good.
Curtis, when you say, sorry, Officer Delbar, when you say Robert's 100%, is it 1 to 2 or is it like 6 to 12? I mean, do you have or is that data available right now?
The actual numbers is they are up from 18 to 36.
Wow,
Wow, that's a
Okay.
lot.
that is a lot.
Wow, okay, that's scary. Thank you.
I have something kind of random for Officer Delbar. This is Kevin. Did you guys get any reports? I actually called ACS about this, but there was a guy that's been cruising around. He's got a orange jumpsuit on, kind of crazy eyes. Like it just seemed like something was off. Did you hear any reports about somebody that fits that description last week?
No, I don't remember anyone in orange jumpsuits.
I saw him
you know
cruising
what
down
area?
Moore Park, and then he was in the neighborhood west of or east of Cahuenga. Just kind of camped out on somebody's yard, but
More parking
Anyway.
plan. I don't remember any calls about that happening.
okay.
Do you know if it was multiple calls or just one?
No, I don't know. I mean, I didn't call LAPD, but I know I spoke to one of my neighbors and he was kind of following him because it seemed like something was going on. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep an eye out, but that he'll stand out for sure if he has an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And Curtis, those couple of people that were on Woodbridge that were seen, you know, two different locations, two different pictures. Did they look similar? Of the guy that walked up to the door, went through the side gate?
Yeah, they look similar. I don't know if it's the same guy, but I also got another photo of another one. I was walking up and down Riverside by the Wells Fargo.
Uh-huh.
So he looked a little similar too. So it's hard to tell. Some of the videos aren't as great.
Yeah.
So it is tough to tell. But again, that's just a heads up to, you know, remain open communication and then always keep your gates locked and secured. And just don't make it easy for anyone. Eliminate that crime of opportunity.
Yeah, this guy walked right up to their door, you know, yeah. I mean, people are very aggressive. They're not intimidated at all.
Yeah, it almost seems like the behavior of what Ralph used to do, except with minus the yelling.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. Well, COVID, we don't really have an update. Tony's not here tonight. Does anybody have any COVID updates that they want to share? Is everybody feeling well? I hope. Good.
I have seen that we are under 800 ICU hospitalizations in Los Angeles County, which is the lowest it's been in 3 months. So
Yeah, but I also just heard on the news that we surpassed the what was the 100 years ago, the flu.
Oh.
675,000 that died. We're now up to 700,000. So people are still getting sick, and hopefully
yeah.
all been vaccinated. So.
Yep.
And then Curtis says their quote is "Lock it, hide it, keep it. Please, please lock your cars. Please, even if you're just going to run in the house for a second. It's all about opportunity. So please lock your cars. Half these crimes are cars that are open. And then my LA 311 app, I just got a fact sheet, which is pretty extensive. I think the chamber put this out, but there's actually a video on how to use my LA 311 mobile app at the website www.lacity.org/myLA311. So it's got a lot of things that you can report, including a couch that's sitting under the freeway, or a tree branch that fell into the street, or graffiti. There's lots and lots of things you can report. So please get that app on your phone or go on your computer and look it up, because there, you know, you file a citation, and then you use that citation number to keep track of it, and the city will respond pretty quickly, it seems. So get the app. And then September 3rd, the homeless encampments must be 500 feet away from schools and daycare. And we have seen a huge, huge cleanup. So thank you to all that are involved in that, because it was shocking when Nick sent those photos. It was like, you know, pretty exciting. And it's also really good to hear that all of these people have been asked to be helped with housing, with services. So they didn't just move them, but, you know, quite frankly, they're still there. They don't really want to be helped. They don't want to move. They just want to be left alone. So unfortunately, you know, we're not being careless or, uncaring. We are trying to help people. We don't want to just have them move, but the amount of trash and the stains of fires that are on the wall under the freeway underpasses, it can't be healthy for those people. So hopefully now they're in fresher air or in housing.
And with COVID too. Yeah, with COVID, it's really bad having them at all. Yeah.
So, bravo to the powers that be that are working on this. They really are making an impact. So, and then I don't know if any of you have heard about the accident that happened on Foreman and Riverside. It was on September 13th.
Oh, yeah.
A guy with his dog was walking in the crosswalk, and the impact was so severe that there was a hole in the windshield where his body went through. I do know it was an elderly gentleman. I don't believe the dog survived. And the husband, according to Nextdoor, which is where I saw a lady posted that it was her husband, and he was rushed to Cedars. I don't know, has anybody heard if he's doing okay? And the community really wanted to reach out to them and see if there was anything they could do. It was devastating to hear that this happened, and the car was going awfully fast. Maybe it was the same guy that hit the chamber sign. I don't know. He took that out pretty down to the ground. So there is a lot of speeding going on Riverside Drive. I know that DOT changed the signal timers, so hopefully that will kind of slow things down a little bit. And I do know that there is the survey that's going on, the streetscape survey. Maybe that's something they can discuss, is how to slow the traffic down. And there are ways to do that with bulb outs, which kind of come out from the curb and kind of narrow the corner. And so that when you cross the street, it's a shorter distance between the two corners. So there are ways to kind of choke up the traffic a little bit. It doesn't take away parking. All it really does is kind of help slow things down. And they could even beautify it with grass or whatever they want to put up, not grass, because that's probably the worst thing, but there are ways to beautify those corners as well. And then walking on the sidewalks. Curtis brought it up. People are walking in the street still because there's not a lot of traffic at times, and people are walking in dark clothing. And it's scary, especially for us older people who don't see as well at night sometimes, and you don't know if somebody's in the street. So wear reflective clothing, wear light colored clothing, and please tell your neighbors to walk on the sidewalks instead of in the street. Does anybody, oh, I see Jonathan. Let me, how do I unmute you? Ask to unmute. Can you talk, Jonathan?
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Robin, I forgot to mention that when you do the minutes, double check your date for the meeting, because it looks like you wrote August 30th. It was actually September 4th. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, here's,
thank you. And I'm actually going to go back now that we have quorum, because Kevin is here, right? Kevin, you're still here. So I have Colby, Robin, Tess, Kevin, and Sean, which gives us quorum. So and what was the date, Jonathan? September
4th.
4th. Thank you. So I'm going to read the motion A to approve the GTLNC September 4th, 2021 Public Safety Committee minutes. Full text of the minutes can be found at www.gtlnc.org. Colby.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I need a first. I'm so
Wait a
sorry.
second.
Sean,
Sean, thank you, Sean. I need a second.
Second.
Kevin, thank you. Okay, any discussion on the minutes? And I know Jonathan brought up the date.
Yes, Robin, would it be possible to fill in some of the detail that Jonathan mentioned? Because I think that's important.
You know, it's possible, but I'd have to go back and listen to the meeting, and I'd have to decide what is pertinent enough to put in there. Again, just to reiterate, the only thing that ever needs to be listed on an agenda is the time the meeting starts, the time the meeting ends, and how people vote. That is it. So anything else put in the minutes, which is, thank goodness, we now have YouTube, we have recordings, all of that can be found, and you can watch the meeting and hear everything that was said. So it's really up to the discretion of who's taking the minutes, which I try to put in what I can, but it's not a document. It's not a court document where you have to put every word in there. So I
Well-
try to give the flavor, but I don't put all the, I try to get as many dates and different things in there. But again, that's why we have the video recording. If we were live and in person, somebody can be sitting here taking notes or doing what they want in person. But on these Zoom calls, and I'm leading the meeting, so it's hard for me to type and run the meeting at the same time.
Well,
So-
if it would be helpful, I could provide you some notes. And I would also like to suggest that you include in the agenda and in the meeting minutes going forward, a link to the YouTube so that people know that it's available, because it's mentioned from time to time in the meetings that people, if people could be directed there, that would be useful too.
We're working on the website to include a more direct link to YouTube.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, but can it be also on the meeting minutes and the agenda?
Well, yeah, possibly. I mean, when you actually write it in the agenda, in the minutes, it might be a longer, almost, untypable link.
Well, here's to Colby. Colby, all you need to do is say, go to youtube.com and search for GTLNC. You don't have to put a 400, character link. And you can also use a bit.ly link, which I can show you how to do. That's super simple. Can we do that, please?
we will look into it.
So that's,
And look into it.
We're doing what we can, Tess. Thanks, Tess. We're doing what we can.
that sounds like a no, but I will.
It's not a no. It's not a no. It's just we're working on it, Tess.
All right, well,
There's
there
a-
does- I don't see what the problem is to just create a small link, but you know what? I'll send you some notes, Robin, and we'll
That's
go
great.
from there.
That would be great. But we're voting on these, so maybe you can send me notes from tonight and we can add them to next month's meeting.
I'll send you the notes that I have from last month, and if you need help with notes, we can discuss that going forward. I'm happy to help.
Great. Jonathan,
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me still?
yes.
Okay, thank you. My comments now are about the agenda for tonight. I think this is one of the most, if not the most important committee. It's not a committee about planning land use, and it's not about attracting money for grant money, but it's what's most on the residents' mind. If you stop anyone in Greater Toluca Lake and you say, what's really on your mind about living in this community? They're going to tell you it has something to do with their sense of safety, their sense of security, because of everything they've seen go on. In fact, I think a lot of the people walking the streets, because they're not real comfortable walking along the sidewalks anymore, where there's human excrement in the plants and needles that their dogs might step on and stuff like that. So it's a really important committee. And on the agenda, there's nothing proactive going on. So I took the time to look at, I think there's around 90 some other neighborhood councils. And I recommend 5 different things you could be doing. And maybe you can think about it as board members. But one of the things is do some research on what other neighborhood councils are doing in their public safety. That's number 1. Number 2 is initiatives. Just like you have in other committees, you can have an initiative. And just like Tess had a meeting on the people over on Sierra and Vineland, having to do with that area, there is people setting up tents, and maybe they're going to put a rock garden in there or something. That's an initiative created solely based on the public safety. The residents said, we don't care what it looks like, we just want it to be safe. That's that type of initiative. So that's number 2. Number 3 is something I saw in NoHo, a neighborhood council. They actually send letters to businesses that are underperforming in terms of their obligation to the community. So in our area, for example, that 99-cent store down on Lancashire, and I don't know if it's still there, the Chase Bank, McDonald's, it's been demolished and they'll rebuild it. These are 3 examples of businesses that were just filthy. And when you walked in, the landscaping looked so disheveled, you felt unsafe. And I noticed that NoHo is actually sending letters to these businesses. They're very polite, but they're very demanding on what they want. They want them to be clean and presentable. So I recommend that as number 3. Number 4 is create focus groups. In some instances, you call them neighborhood watches, but a focus group is where you identify businesses and residences that are near concerning areas, whether it be dangerous or whatever. You bring together some people on a meeting, you choose them and you bring them together and give them a sense that there's a community around them and find out what they need, what they see. So for example, McDonald's used to always have that naked maid van parked out there that was illegal, and it went on for years. That would be something you might be able to get some cooperation from businesses to take on these type of things, at least report them to you, because you have a dialogue going on in these focus groups in areas that are problematic. And then the fifth thing, I would say identify 10 of your top producing businesses like Trader Joe's and that McDonald's, and have a dialogue going on with them on what they want from the community that may either have or might need, but also what you want from them. Because I have a feeling if that dialogue was intense, you could get some contributions and not use Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council's money for picking up trash outside of Trader Joe's, but rather these are businesses that are siphoning off hundreds of thousands of dollars to Wall Street. And they could well afford to put some money into our what we call the broken window policy, meaning when something looks disheveled or unclean, it invites crime. And those are 5 initiatives. I was thinking to myself, don't just complain to you people that you aren't doing enough, but rather talk about things that could be proactive in this committee instead of just what I think Officer Delbar's contribution is immeasurably important. But there has to be more on the agenda about what we're doing to make our community more like what it used to be, and not in terms of a time warp, but it used to be so much safer. And there are parts of town that are doing better than we are. And I think we have the capability, but I think we should be initiating some of these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Sean?
Yeah, there's actually a couple things I wanted to bring up, and if Officer Delbar is still around. One, I was hoping Mehmet would be here tonight because a while ago they talked about putting ballards on Vineland between Moore Park and Riverside, because there's a lot of people that drive in the bike lane and they will come flying down Vineland. So that was one thing that I believe CD4.
They are going to restripe and put the bike lanes on the inside of the parked cars. Yes.
Correct. I didn't have any follow-up or feedback on that, and I was just wondering when that was going to be a thing. And then there was one question I had on Riverside and Cahuenga. This has happened to me on 2 separate occasions, and it's kind of scary. If you're heading eastbound on Riverside at Cahuenga, there are times where people are looking at the light at the freeway and not looking at the light at Riverside, and they will fly through that intersection. And it was completely green for the east-west traffic, and a guy not paying attention, just trying to, get to the freeway, ran that red light, and a lot of us had to stop all of a sudden, and it was green for us. So I don't know who we need to talk to about that specific intersection.
What would you suggest, Sean?
It's got to be a timing thing, because what ends up happening inevitably is if you're going through the light and let's say you're heading eastbound, you're the traffic that's coming northbound on Cahuenga is, if they're not paying attention, they're going to see the light at the freeway and not pay attention to the light on Riverside and blow through that light to get to the freeway.
I believe that's DOT.
Yeah, that's a timing issue with DOT. Is Steve Rostam still on deck with us? Does he come to our meeting?
He hasn't come for a while, but yeah, you could reach out to Steve Rostam.
I have his details, Sean, I can give you if you like.
Please,
Okay. I have a
take it
couple.
offline. I don't want to take up everyone's time.
Sure, I mean, but yeah, the bike, I'm glad you brought up the bike lanes. I think that's important. Robin, you said that the restriping is going to occur, putting the bike lanes inside the parked cars. Do you know when
Yeah,
that's supposed to happen?
I don't know when that's gonna happen, but who was it?
I thought it was you. Was it Rachel or was it?
Was it Mehmet or Rachel?
I don't remember. It was a
It was
while,
It is Rachel. It was a long time. It's before Memento. I
Yeah.
think.
it was a
Rachel.
while ago.
Thanks, Colby.
So yeah, I have a couple comments as well. So I think, I've been a member of this public safety committee for several years now. And I do think we can be doing a lot more, and being proactive or taking initiatives is a good plan. And in preparation for the neighborhood watch meeting that we have coming up, I've been going through my emergency preparedness files because I attended a conference with Tony Carey a couple of years ago and collected a lot of stuff. And I've reached out today to Jessica Kellogg, who's a public safety officer, and to Crisanta Gonzalez, who's the supervisor of community preparedness and engagement. And what they do is they send people out to talk to neighborhoods and communities about emergency preparedness. And I'm planning that for our residents association, but of course I'll share everything I find out with the neighborhood council and the public safety committee. And I think, getting that out to people would be important. Also, I'd like to see some guest speakers here. I'd love to have the fire marshal come in, get him to discuss safety precautions, what we can do. The Bureau of Street Services executive director or a senior person from that department. That would be super useful. And I'm not sure if people here are aware, but it's possible to get from the fire marshal, or it used to be, I'm not sure if it still is, maybe Curtis can comment, to get safety or crime audits or safety audits. So a police officer or a fire marshal can look at your home and audit it from the standpoint of, in the case of the police officer, public safety, is it crime proof? And from the standpoint of the fire marshal, is it fireproof, or what can you do to improve your safety? So I think that's a really important thing. And, just to identify what our priorities are here as a committee, I think would be useful. I mean, to me, it's homelessness / crime, and crime proofing, and getting hold of anti-crime resources that we can share with people. Traffic, number 2, and emergency preparedness. I know we've had CERT training that Tony organized a year or 2 ago, and it would be great if we could bring that back. I don't know what the status is going to be with COVID, but that's super important. And I've noticed, there's a great deal of emergency preparedness awareness going on. I got an email from the city controller, Ron Galperin's office. So all of those things I think would be useful for us to, create events, awareness, provide literature, whether it's in the newsletter and or in the download document packet on the website and or on the front page of the website, all of that, so that we can, raise the standard in this neighborhood and bring it back to what it's been in the past, or at least do our best. So those are my thoughts.
That's a good idea, Tess. And if you want to reach out to the fire marshal, or if you want to send me, his contact, or I'll look at it, but reach out to whoever you want to reach out to and invite them in the meetings, or rope us in if you want to, or just invite them.
Okay.
And also, Tess, any information you want to provide, I will make sure it gets into the newsletter. So if you come up with earthquake preparedness information, send it my way. I'll get it in the newsletter. Anything you want to put in the newsletter that will help the public is all good. So
Yeah, and I like the idea of bringing in special speakers. I think that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think a safety audit is a good thing, and I'm gonna research that a little bit more. So great, thanks.
Yeah, and again, just feel free to just go ahead and do it. If you want me to do it, that's fine. But you're totally empowered to do what you want to do.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
great. Thank you, Tess. Sean, do you have another question, because your hand's still up?
No, I'll take it down right now.
All right. And I'm gonna lower Tess's hand. Are there any other questions or new business? Anything?
Yeah,
you
I have a
want-
question. I got an email from a stakeholder asking about putting up a no loitering sign in front of their business. What do you do about that?
Curtis, you know anything about that?
You still here?
Yeah.
Yes, so I
Okay.
spoke to Mehmet about this one. We're still looking into it. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
reference the city attorney to find out what actually would make that a legal sign that can be enforced up there.
Okay.
So give me a few days
All
on
right,
the city
you're on.
attorney. I can reference him.
So he did get you on it. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, could you let us know, Nick or Curtis? Yeah,
For sure.
that would be good to know.
I'll let everyone know for sure. Well, both of us will. Yeah.
Great. All right. Any other questions? No. All right. Well, that being said, I'm going to call the meeting to a close at 8 p.m. Our next meeting is Monday, November 1st at 7 p.m. Thank you all and have a really great month.
Thank you very much.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good night.
Great
Bye.
meeting you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Good night.
Nick. Bye.
And thanks, Officer Delbar, for holding on so long.